Hello, guys. Welcome back to the NW Sportscast. The Mariners got a huge but a huge late inning victory against the Los Angeles Angels in Seattle. They remain one of the best teams in baseball at home on Friday nights. Weird. They also remain one of the best teams in baseball in one-run games. And our record when scoring 5 or more runs is now 18-1. How about that? Yeah, that's right. The Mariners came out to play today in the first inning. They put up a four spot in the first inning, courtesy of a 2-out, 2-run double from Ty France. That was almost a home run. Kevin Pillar, he had a chance at robbing Ty France, but instead it ends up being a 2-out, 2-run double. And that put the Mariners up 4-0 quite early on in the ball game. And after that, it was kind of just a cruise control type of a game, or so we thought. Bryan Woo was filthy once again tonight. I believe he has now allowed only 4 earned runs in 5 starts. That is incredible, and he has been just so good ever since he came off the injured list. He is pitching like an ace. I don't know if that's going to continue or not. Hopefully it does continue, but if not, he has been just fantastic. And we don't need Bryan Woo to pitch like an ace every single time out. The fact that he has been a huge added bonus to this team. So Bryan Woo, he was on cruise control tonight, as were the Mariners, but unfortunately they kind of fell asleep at the plate. In the 5th and 6th inning, we had runners in scoring position and failed to advance them. In the 6th, we had runners at the corners, nobody out, and unfortunately not able to score. But still, we were up 4-0. And despite the fact that we were 3 for 16 with runners in scoring position, we had a 4-0 lead going into the 7th. And then all of a sudden, the Angels started to come back. And this is not something we've seen a lot of from the Angels teams lately. You see, unless it's Trout and Ohtani who are there, but normally, especially in games when Trout's hurt, like tonight, we've seen the Angels kind of fold up and die, and tonight they did not do that. Logan O'Hoppe drew a walk. I believe somebody else, Taylor Ward, got on base, and Kevin Pillar, I think he may have walked as well. Some combination of that. The Angels loaded the bases against Trent Thornton, and then into the game came Taylor Saucedo. And the Angels, they brought in a pinch hitter, pinch hitter Joe Adell. If you remember Joe Adell, he was supposed to be the next big thing. About 5 years ago when he made his debut, they said he's going to be the next great outfielder, and he never really panned out, but now he is in the majors, and despite the fact that he's only hitting .210, he does have 11 home runs and I believe 19 runs batted in, so he hasn't been terrible this year. This is definitely the best season of his career so far. Joe Adell, he had a pinch hit game-tying grand slam off of Taylor Saucedo, and that put the game at 4-4. The Mariners, they were not about to take this game into extra innings, though, because Ty France, he showed up again in the 8th inning with a solo home run to put the Mariners back on top 5-4, and that would be the final. Andres Munoz, he locked down the save. Ryan Stanek gets the hold in the 8th, and so that bullpen, again, despite some struggles in the 7th inning, the 8th and 9th has been all locked down for the Mariners, and they did that again tonight. And so the Mariners walk away with a 5-4 win. They are back at 5 games above 500. More good news tonight. The Rangers lost, so the Mariners increase our division lead. It is up to 4 games, which is the most that it has been all season. Previously, 3.5 was our highest total. Now we are leading Texas by 4 full games. They are 3 below 500. We are 5 games above at 32-27. Tomorrow will be our 60th. That's right, our 60th game. If we win tomorrow, that would be really huge. We'd be at 6 games above 500 for the first time all season. We have been to 5 above now 4 times, but we've never made it to 6 above. So every time we get to that 5 games above 500 mark, we have lost. Hopefully we don't lose again tomorrow. It's going to be Bryce Miller on the bump. He might be our worst pitcher, so maybe that means that we will lose. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game either way. Today, though, the story was really about 2 players. It was about Bryan Woo and it was about Ty France. I already talked about Bryan Woo. I thought he looked really sharp tonight, as he has all season. Let's talk about Ty France. Ty France, he's a guy who, for the past even month and a half, really, we've been talking about potentially replacing Ty France. I mean, the Mariners themselves, they weren't sure if they were going to tender him a contract this season. And so there's a whole conversation about that. Drew and I have talked about, should we trade for Pete Alonso? Should we trade for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? A lot of people on Twitter have been telling me that they would really like to trade for Christian Walker. And then I've also heard, Paul Goldschmidt thrown out there. But the bottom line is there's a lot of people who believe that this team needs a new first baseman, needs an upgrade at first base. And Ty France in the past couple of weeks, he has kind of turned his season around. His OPS plus is now at 104, I believe. He is above average hitter, which, 2 weeks ago, he was sitting down in the 90s. At one point, he was down in the 80s. So he has really turned things around offensively. He's up to 7 home runs now in 59 games, which puts him on pace to hit, I believe, 19. So, if you can get, hopefully that trend continues. If he can hit 20 home runs and hit 250, that's huge out of Ty France. And I understand, for a first baseman who is not great at defense, 250 with 20 bombs isn't great. But for Ty France, compared to last season when I believe he had 12 bombs and about 240, if you can improve that batting average even by 10 points and then get that power back to about a 20 home run a season pace, that's huge. And that's what he's been. He's been hitting at a 20 home run season pace. And that he might be saving his job, because there's a chance that Ty France doesn't get tendered a contract next season. He's in arbitration right now, but you don't have to give those guys contracts, right? Just because you can have club control doesn't mean that the club has to exercise said control. Ty France is playing for his job right now. He is playing to not get replaced at the deadline, and he's also playing for his job next year. Even if the Mariners do replace him, he knows it though. I think he understands that, and he's been really, really good. Maybe this is partially the driveline effect. Obviously, last year it took JP a couple of months to get going, but this is a great way to close out the month of May, not only for the Mariners but for Ty France. I'm not sure if I'm fully on board with, keeping Ty France as your long-term first baseman. I don't think he's convinced me yet. I still think, I think probably Tyler Locklear is your future at that position. If not somebody else down the road. I don't think Laz Montez is a first baseman, so probably Tyler Locklear is your future at first base. But if you can keep Ty France around for 1 to 2 more years, if he can be a productive bat, that's huge for this team. And today he was that. And the past 2 weeks he's been that. 3 runs batted in. He gets a solo home run, the double. He reached base 4 times tonight. 3 hits and a walk for Ty France. I mean, he carried the team tonight. If not for Ty France and Brian Wu, the Mariners do not win this game. And Ty's a big reason why I'm proud of the guy. I mean, I love Ty France. I've been a big fan. This is his 5th season as a Mariner. One of the longest tenured guys on this team. In fact, outside of Dylan Moore, J.P. Crawford, he is the 3rd longest tenured guy on this team. He's one of very few players who were around for the losing season in 2020. But Ty France was there, so it's cool to keep some of the guys from the past around. I like the idea of having some consistency at some of these positions. So am I fully on board with Ty France? No, I'm not. I still think that you can upgrade that with a Vlad or with a Christian Walker. I would not be trading for Paul Goldschmidt. I don't think I'd be trading for Pete Alonso. So really, I think if you're going to trade for a first baseman, it would have to be Vlad or it would have to be Christian Walker. Those are the only 2 first basemen that I think are A, available, and B, definitely better than Ty France. Anybody else, though, I would keep Ty France. And even now, I mean, Ty France, if he can keep playing like this over the next month, he could convince me that we don't need to trade for a first baseman. Because, look, there are other positions we could trade for, right? We could trade for a second baseman, maybe, to replace Jorge Polanco. We could trade for a DH to replace Mitch Garver, although you kind of have to keep him on the roster, but you can use Garver as your backup catcher and trade for another guy to put him at full-time DH. You could trade for a corner outfielder, and then in that case, you'd be allowing Mitch Haniger to go to DH, and then maybe somebody who can split playing time with a Canzone and a Rayleigh. So there's a lot of options of what you can do at the deadline. You don't have to trade for first baseman. You could do third, second, outfield, DH, anywhere really you could trade for. And we've been talking about first base just because of how bad Ty France was in late April, early May. But now he's turning things around. Great to see, and a great win for the Seattle Mariners. Ty France is, of course, your player of the game. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is the NW Sportscast. My name is Levi. Drew, he is not with me, of course. He's over in Germany, hanging out with the German folks and having a good time over there. So wish him safety down in the comments, and let us know, guys. Do you want that Seahawks prediction video? Because I've got one. I can post it tomorrow if you want it. And with all that being said, thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as always, go Mariners.